Tick, 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 tick. Boom. Yes, we are back once again like a renegade master, ready to rock your Monday, because as everybody knows, Monday is my favorite day of the week. It's your favorite day of the week. Everybody, no matter where you are. Some of you are thinking, why are you saying this, Tom? Monday's the day I go back to work. Oh, that might be the case, but that just pales in comparison to what you guys have got to look forward to on your trip home. Welcome to your Meltdown Monday. As always, my name's Tom Finkill. I'm repping it over here in beautiful, sunny, summer-filled Manchester, England. And we are set for another incredible bout. We have got the most awesome guest that is going to join us today. I'm excited about it. I know my big brother across the pond is excited about it. We're going to find out if we can live on the edge of a lightning bolt, strap a rocket to ourselves and shoot for the moon. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get there, I'm going to introduce you to my tag team partner, the creation of devastation. It's Brian Clark.
Tomcat, thank you, my man. Great intro as always. My co-host of the Meltdown is not only one cool cat, he is the Tomcat of Manchester and the straw that stirs the drink each and every Monday. And by the way, the Tomcat is on his way to his first ice bath plunge. Oh yeah, whether it's at 20K or 30K followers or more, Tom is taking a deep dive for 3 minutes. Maybe our sponsors, maybe our subscribers will decide. Either way, it's going to be epic. And speaking of epic, our guest today for the 10th episode is a former WWE United States champion, a Money in the Bank winner, a two-time TNA champion, just to name a few of his many career championships. Hey, and one of my all-time favorites, the master of the microphone.
Whoa, 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 whoa. If we are going to introduce this next guest, there is only one way that we can do it. Ladies and gentlemen, from Green Bay, Wisconsin, weighing in at a slim trim 242 pounds, Mr. Anderson. Boom.
Love it.
Ladies
love
and
it.
gentlemen, Mr. Ken Anderson.
God, can I hire you guys to just follow me around everywhere?
Just walk into Publix and we'll have the mic drop.
That was the best intro that I've ever gotten in my life.
I love that, mate.
Love it.
I'm going to hold that to my heart. That's literally going to be on all my social media. Perfect.
What a way to kick this off, man. I'm in a good mood. I'm having fun. Let's do it.
Oh,
Awesome.
right. Great. Ken, again, we really appreciate you being here today, man. We're going to have a blast. We always do.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. We've been looking forward to this. I've never got to meet you. I followed your career. A big fan of all your work. I want to start out a little bit, just to know about a little bit of your background. I think I know a lot of it, but you always find good nuggets in conversation. Tell me a little bit about early sports and athletics. as far as when you realized you were going to be a really good athlete? I mean, you just felt it. When did that happen?
Never, never.
Not buying that.
No, I seriously like I I wasn't into sports as a kid. Um I I was, I guess, I would play with my cousins and my friends and stuff. We would do gymnastics and we'd run and have races and stuff like that, but never any organized sports. Didn't like football until I was in high school. I was a swimmer. I found swimming when I was a little kid, so I was like a little fish, but never, and I competed, but I was never really good. I never, I was never winning tons of medals or anything like that. But I was into entertainment. I wanted to be an actor from the time that I was a little kid. And and then, like I found some I did play some sports when I was in high school. I swam on the swim team and I ran a little track, but I also did some acting. And and then when I got out of high school, and then to be fair, like I fell in love with sports. I loved watching football then, and once I learned the rules and everything. But yeah, and I got out of high school and kind of got away from the acting thing, and then I never watched wrestling, but I was 19 years old. I was at a friend's house, and he was like, "We're watching wrestling tonight," and I kind of gave him a hard time. I was like, "Man, come on, man, this stuff's fake," and I was in that camp, and he was like, "Seriously, man, there's this guy that's like on a tear right now. I promise you, just watch." And we were watching, and I heard this glass break, and I saw a guy drive to the ring in a pickup truck, and he had a six-pack of beer on his lap. I was, "Get the hell out of my way," to the cameraman, and then yeah, and I was just like, okay, okay, this guy's kind of cool. Let me just see what he's got. And then I started watching every week just to see what he would do. And then I fell in love with The Undertaker and Kane and D-Generation X, and I just got sucked into all of it. And pretty soon, that's all I could talk about was wrestling.
Okay, got it. I
Yeah.
mean, how could you not get hooked on that? I mean, it was constant entertainment each and every week, bigger and
Yeah.
bigger and bigger. It kept building. I do want to ask you one thing because I'm not sure of the answer to this, so I'm going to ask: are you a veteran? Are you a military veteran?
I am. Yeah, I served in the Army Reserve.
Okay, that was the question. So thank you for your service, man. We appreciate that. Veteran here also, and we always give
Thank
a big
you.
shout out. We always give a big shout out to our veterans. So I'm glad that I found that out. Good stuff.
I'm surrounded by
thank you.
heroes right here. We love it. I love that.
we-
Both of you.
we-
Thank you so much for your service. Well, just as we're doing our little deep dives, Brian likes to get these wonderful nuggets. And I just want to see if there's a tie-in right here. Did you ever work at a nuclear power plant?
I did.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. So we've
I
got
was-
the creation of devastation, Atom Bomb just over here. And we've got Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
We'll bring it all together and create
That's
a nuclear blast. There we go. Oh, you are correct, Brian. Check him out.
I was an armed security guard at a nuclear power plant in Two Rivers, Wisconsin.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So-
next level security guard level. That's not like looking after a mall, is it? That is
Yeah.
going straight to the big leagues. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So I think Brian's gonna quiz you a little bit about a wonderful feature that we have here on the show, where we take a little look, a little deep dive into professional football.
Yeah.
Brian, over to you, brother.
Well, last week, Ken, and you'll be seeing this as this comes up in the next few weeks, but last week we had Gene Snitsky as our guest. We discussed his college career. He played at Mizzou, and his O-line coach was Andy Reid, who was also under the Packer training tree, so to speak. And so, so we do chat a little pro football here. Tell me about you being a Packer fan. And was it just automatic living in your area? I mean, it was just one of those things that had to happen.
So my dad would watch football every week. It was like a religion in our home. We didn't go to church. My dad put the football game on, and he would always he never liked listening to the TV announcers. So he would always put on, he would turn the volume of the TV down and he would put the radio announces on. And it was Jim Irwin and Max McGee, who were two former Packers. And so, I can just remember listening to those guys as a kid. And yeah, of course, Two Rivers, Wisconsin, there's not much to do. So we loved our Packers.
And do you have any memorabilia that stands out? Anything special that any of the players from the old school have that you have that's, say, a collector's item? Is there anything?
So two things that are special to me. One, I'm a shareholder, so I bought one share in the team, which is kind of cool. I got that framed.
Okay.
And then two, I was doing an appearance at a Monday Night Raw at the Resch Center in Green Bay. And it was like a small little appearance. It was like 30 or 40 VIPs. And they shuffled the last person out the door, and another door opened up, and about 12 just big dudes come walking in. And it was a bunch of Packers, and they had a jersey for me, and it was my favorite number, 33, and it said Mr. Kennedy on it. And it was if you look in the picture, we took a picture of me holding it and them standing behind me. If you look in the background, there's a very young green Aaron Rodgers like peeking out behind somebody's shoulder. So it's kind of cool.
That is very cool. That is very cool. I have a few pieces myself, but that's very special for them to make that for you and bring it. That's very cool. I like it. Let's see here. Tom, you want to roll over and ask Ken where we're
yeah, we're good. We're good. Sorry, I was completely absorbed with that story.
Yeah,
and I'm going to try and find that picture.
Talk Green Bay. I can talk Packer football for a while.
He can. He knows a lot. We love it. We love it. He's like an encyclopedia when it comes to the Packers. So yeah, we love that. Yeah. And I feel like I need to get attached like Andy Reid, right? If that's the next stage. Once we get to 30,000 subscribers, we'll try that. So you touched a little bit about your genesis, the original nucleus of getting involved in liking professional wrestling, to getting to love professional wrestling, to get it to be your go-to. Well, talk to us a little bit about how you transitioned from being a fan into being a superstar.
I was at a party one night and we were talking wrestling, as was the case at the time. And somebody said, "Hey, you can go to wrestling school and learn how to do that stuff." And I just it was like mind blown. I'd never thought in a million, I never even thought how do these guys do this stuff? And so I went home and I got on, there was no Google. It was like Ask Jeeves or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember thinking there's not going to be a wrestling school. If there is a wrestling school, it's going to be in one of the major cities like LA, New York, or Chicago. And I was 3.5 hours away from Chicago, so I was like, I'll look up wrestling schools around there. And I found one in the Chicago area, and I called them and I left a message. It's probably 1 o'clock in the morning. I left a message. It was crazy. And then 2 days later, I got a call back from a guy in Green Bay who was starting up a wrestling school. And he said, "I got your number from this guy in Chicago. I'm opening up a wrestling school. You'd be my first student. And we'll offer you a tryout." I think the tryout was $175. And I went to this, it was an old J.C. Penney building that had been broken down. And it was just a 16 by 16 lowrider ring with floppy, wobbly ropes. And there were blood stains and rips and tears all over the canvas. And I remember looking at it and going that is awesome. I can't believe I'm standing next to a wrestling ring. And then I got in and I took my first bump and I ran the ropes for the first time. And I was like, this is it. I knew that I was home and I knew that's what I wanted to do. So
I think the thing is with professional wrestling, it's once you know it, you get that bug for it, and then there's nothing like it. There truly isn't anything like it. Did you find
Yeah, and I think once I started learning about the art and how we do what we do and how we manipulate the audience, and that I loved it even more. I had so much more respect for it. It's way harder than people think it is.
Because that probably is a tie-in to where you wanted to be an actor or at least somewhere in that realm. And you're okay, pro wrestling, there's a chance to tell a story. So it's all a tie-in. And of course, you're doing it for the audience. So
Yeah.
it makes sense.
It was a perfect blend of all the things that I already loved. And I was like, God, this is so obvious. And I was mad at myself for having missed out on it for so many years and being in that, like, that it's fake category camp.
And then of course you have to add in the psychology that goes along with telling that story and then getting the fans to invest in your story, which I think you did quite well throughout your career.
That
I want
was
to ask, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, one of my trainers, it was two guys that were the head coaches, and one of the guys would come over every I can't remember when ECW was on TV at the time. It was on TNT. It was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And I remember he would come over and we would watch that. And then he had this big giant box of VHS tapes, and we would just plug in like old WCW, old NWA, AWA, and sort of break down all the psychology and stuff. See what they're doing right there? They're doing it because this and this would have been better. And it was just awesome.
Guarantee you'll have been on some of those tapes, Bryan. Guarantee it.
Probably.
Absolutely, 100%. Yep.
Ken, I was watching one of your other interviews, and this really related. I can relate to this, but you did say that some of your WWE years were a blur in one of your interviews, and a lot of people will not understand that. I completely understand it, but for our listeners who are listening right now, how would you explain that it was a blur?
You are, it's I equate it to test taking in America, right? Like, you cram for a test, you take the test, and then you dump all the information, and then you get to the next thing. It's like you're in a different town every single night. When you're on the WWE schedule, it was like 4, 5, sometimes 7 days a week when you're doing overseas tours, right? Like, you just keep rolling, and you commit a match to memory, kind of. You go out there, you perform it. Okay, what's next? And it's just you're just constantly moving. You're on a bus, you're on a plane, you're in the car, you're in the arena. Like, I was in Rome probably 3 times before I ever saw anything in Rome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you went to Rome, how was it? Like, I don't know. I saw the inside of a hotel room in the arena, and that was it.
Yeah, and that's great. That's just the way it is. It seems like you're and add in eating properly, training, getting your workout in, and if you're a guy that that's just one other thing you've got to add to it. There's always these levels of and making sure you're just taking care of yourself on top of the schedule. So the 300 plus days per year will wear you down, and there is your blur.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There's stuff that, like, I'll somebody will post something online, a match of mine, and I have no recollection of it. Like, I just recently saw there was a match that I had with Taker and Kane that somebody posted, and I think it was me and MVP, and I just don't remember it happening. Like,
Wow.
I just watched that this week.
yeah,
I just watched that match this week. Yes, sure.
like,
Did.
I went to at some point I got in a car and I went to hit Kane with the car. I don't remember it.
It was on SmackDown. Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Bryan is good when it comes to his research. He goes really in deep. He makes sure that every error is covered.
And it was easy because I've always been a big fan of his work. So I mean, this was like, oh yeah, let's go. What's next?
No, it's not like it's work when we're in this scenario. We are contacting people that we want to appear on our show, that we want to talk about positivity and everything that they brought to the table. They put smiles on faces and love in hearts, and I feel like you definitely did that with your tenures in both WWE and TNA and beyond. But just as we're getting to it, talk to us about getting, and I know we've just said that obviously a lot of the WWE stuff was a blur, but how did you get to the point where you got to the WWE?
I just kept at the time, it's sort of different now. At the time when you got booked as an extra, you got an opportunity sometimes to have a match. So they put you on Jacked or Metal or Sunday Night
Velocity
Heat,
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff, right? Like they give you an opportunity. And I probably have 20 of those under my belt. I did like 15 that were televised and then another five that were non-televised, just dark matches. And, I just kept, every time I would go, I would try to be a sponge. I would get my stuff on, I'd go to the ring and I would just listen. And I would listen. And a lot of times, Arn Anderson, Fit Finley, Dean Malenko, those guys were holding class at the ring and they would just teach us stuff. They were, it was just amazing. And I just kept trying to get better and better every time that I showed up. And I remember one time being there, Davari had gotten hired. Davari was my best friend in the business. And Davari had gotten hired and we were standing next to each other at the ring. And Fit just pointed at me, pointed at Davari, said, "Get in the ring, give me 5 minutes. Just go, just call it on the fly." And I remember Davari just said, "I got you. I know what they're looking for. Just listen to me." And I was cool. And that's what we did. And we had a solid little match, little 5 minute match. And I remember getting done and Arn said, "Come here for a second." And I went over and he goes, "Next time there's a round of hiring, I'm gonna put your name. I'm gonna bring up your name. I can't make any promises. I don't do the hiring around here, but like I'm gonna make an effort." And then there was him, there was Paul Heyman that I had a similar encounter with, who also said that. I was Tommy Dreamer was in the office. He was the guy that was in charge of booking extras. He said the same thing. So it was like those roads converged at once, and
It
you
was
know,
like the lining up of planets. It was the
mhm,
perfect scenario. And thankfully it did, because you
yep.
gave us one of the most incredible characters of the Ruthless Aggression era. So thank you.
I appreciate that. It's funny that it almost didn't happen because Tommy. So Davari called me and he said, "Hey, has the office called you? Because they just hired like six people from OVW." And I said, "No, I haven't heard anything." And then he goes, "Well, just sit tight. I think somebody's probably going to call you. Tommy will call you." And a couple days went by and I didn't hear anything. So I was on my lunch break and I'm going to call Tommy and just check in with him. So I called him and I would always hit him with, "Hey, Tommy, this is Ken Anderson from Green Bay." And Tommy would, in his monotone voice, say, "Hello, Ken Anderson from Green Bay. What can I do for you?" And that day, he was like, "Ken Anderson from Green Bay, hang on a second." And I could hear him shuffling some papers around. I was like, he never says hang on. He's always like, "I'll call you back or call me back." And he said, "I've been trying to call you, but your number is disconnected." And I was like, uh, "No, no, it's not." And he's like, "What is your number? Blah, 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 blah." I said, "No." He goes, "Oh, I've been calling the wrong number." Well, well, I'm calling to tell you that I got you a job.
Wow.
And he was literally, he said he was like within hours away from just going on to the next person on his list because he hadn't heard back from me. He'd been trying to call me for a couple of days.
Wow.
So luckily I made that call.
It's serendipity. It's everything lining up. It is making things right with the world. It's like the butterfly
Yeah.
effect.
Yeah.
But thank God you made that call, and that was a perfect Tommy Dreamer impression, by the way. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep that positivity coming in, because we can feel it oozing through our veins. Before I hand it over to Bryan, I just want to ask you. Obviously, we're talking about WWE right now. And being on a positive spin, we always try and look at our favorite attributes, things that make us smile, things that we remember, whether it be a particular match, a particular promo, a particular segment, or just an interaction with you guys backstage. Is there anything that sticks out about your time that wasn't a blur that you'll always hold in your heart?
Boy, there's so much. There is actually a lot that I do remember. One of the things I haven't brought this up in a while was I was working Taker. I was in a very long program with Undertaker, and we were in Manila at Arnetta Coliseum, which is where the Thrilla in Manila took place.
Yeah.
And I just, out of respect, I said, "What would you like to do tonight, sir?" And he was like, "Work my leg, and at some point I'll drop you on your head." And that was it. And we went out and, tore it down probably 25, 30 minutes in the ring. So, it's just stuff like that. I remember the first time working with Taker, he just told me, just listen to me. I'll tell you to, if I tell you to punch me, punch me. If I tell you to kick me, kick me. And it was so freeing. I didn't have to remember a bunch of stuff. I literally just went out there. I was like, I'm working with one of the best that's ever done it. He's not going to make himself look bad for sure. So I just need to do what he tells me to do and do it well. And it was just it was a cool experience.
Absolute magic. And both of you have had the opportunity to work with Taker, right, Brian?
That was my next question, just to sort of piggyback off what you were just saying, Ken. How much time did you actually spend in the caskets?
Now, there's not many situations where you can ask an individual that question, unless it's a wrestling business, right?
I think I spent more time in the back of a hearse than I did in the casket.
Yeah.
We did, I don't know how many loops where it was a casket match. Every night it was the whole choke slam, roll you into the casket, and then of course they would wheel you all the way from ringside, lid completely closed, all the way to the back. And sometimes just as a rib, okay, I'm sitting there like, okay, this is going to open pretty soon. I'm hoping this thing's got to, or either sometimes just to mess with me, they would throw something in the casket with me. I don't know whatever it was. So yeah, and I'm just saying
something that smells.
Something, yeah, exactly. A little smoke bomb or something. Like, get me out of here. Dude. It was brutal.
So are you aware that Taker's got like a fear of cucumbers? Are you aware of this?
Yes, I am.
Somebody apparently he had to go in the casket, and somebody just placed a couple slices of cucumber in there, and he was like, sweating.
Wrestler's court for somebody on that one. Just saying.
Probably.
Oh, that's great. I did not know about the cucumbers in the casket, but that's a good one. That's a good payback right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever want to know what the kryptonite of the boogeyman is? There you go. It's cucumbers. Who would have known?
I don't know what it is, but yeah, he's afraid of cucumbers. He's not like deathly afraid of them.
Yeah.
That's mad. That's mad. Brian, have you got any fears like that?
Oh, I'm sure I do, but
I don't think he wants. He knows what it is, but he knows it's.
No, well, okay. I would say like I'm not really crazy at all about snakes, those kind of things, So if you were to throw a gimmick snake in there, I'm sure I would sell it. But
you ever work with Jake? You ever do anything with Jake?
No, he was a little before my time. I'd never work with him, which now that I think about it, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah. Oh. I always pop. Speaking of that, I always pop for the story of Randy. I guess they were doing the Cobra thing, and he was going to get bitten, and you got to get bitten first, brother. Made Jake get bitten by it just to show that it was legit, defanged.
Yes,
that is a great story. That's what it's all about. Professional wrestling is so wonderful in terms of an actual entertainment aspect, that lots of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that nobody knows about is sometimes far more entertaining than what we get on screen. So it's wonderful to hear these stories. Brian, I'm going to bat it up to you, brother. What are we talking about?
I want to ask Ken about, and I don't want to be too far ahead here, about your tricep injury. I don't. Are we that far ahead there, Tom? Because I think
we're about there. That's good. Let's start there. About right. What we can do is we'll go to mine. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Ken, I know that when you tore the tricep, I know all about the misdiagnosis.
Yeah.
And you said that I think Finley was one of the first people to see it, and Finley was like, "That doesn't look too good, right?"
Yep.
The reason when I read the story and everything, I'm like, man, that is very similar to something happened to me where I thought I tore my bicep, and immediately it started to swell and it was huge. I'm like, oh, there you go. Here goes another 6 months, whatever.
Yep.
Come to find, and of all people to look at and go, yeah, that's a tear, brother. It doesn't work for him, but that's what he was telling me. Hogan goes, oh yeah, that's a tear. I'm just like, oh, I was, and so come to find out, similar to your situation, come to find out it was a ruptured vein in the bicep.
Yep.
So it turned out to be fine. It was ugly as hell, but it was fine. So yeah, man. And with your situation, when I was like, oh, what a stiff kick that was.
It's almost exactly the same as what happened to me. It was just a large, it was an internal bleed. That's all it was.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was they had just told me like that I was leaving TV and I got called back to the arena and Vince and Stephanie were like, hey, because I had the briefcase at the time.
Right.
The Money in the Bank briefcase. Hey, we're gonna put the title on you next week on SmackDown. Taker's going because Taker had torn his biceps, so he had to go away. And his was like legit. He tore it. And I went home. And then the very next time I wrestled, I was in that, it was like an 8-man tag, super easy. We didn't even call much, we were just kind of working on the fly. And Batista just gave me like a little short clothesline and I hit and I felt something pop, roll to the outside. That's where Finley was on the floor. And he just looked at it and was like, ooh, that's rough. And by the time I got to the basement, because we were in Poughkeepsie and that locker room was down in the basement. And by the time I got down there, it was like turning colors already. It was super swollen. Hornswoggle drove me to the emergency room and in Erie, Pennsylvania. And yeah, they told me Stephanie called the next day. You tore it off the bone. You're gonna have to have surgery. You're gonna go away for 9 months. Oh, but we still need to get the title off of Taker. So the way we're gonna do that is you're gonna drop the briefcase to Edge, and then he's gonna go on and do all the things that we laid out that you were supposed to do. So I did all that, and then I flew to Birmingham, Alabama the next day, and Dr. Andrews he didn't even look at the X-rays. Or the MRI, he just feeling it. He said, that's not a tear. And I was like, what? Yeah, that's not a tear. And sure enough, it was just a hematoma. It was just an internal bleed.
Oh my God. So a literal rug pull straight away, isn't it?
Yep.
That
Crazy.
situation. Was there ever a thought or a conversation as you went back and said it's not what we think it is?
It was too late by that time, like
because you had already put Edge over, right?
Yep.
With the quick the little fight you had down the aisle, then he hit you with the spear, and then there was the change. Yes, it was too late.
Oh man, that's crazy. Oh well,
I was gone for a month and a half. I think it was about for it to all settle down and the swelling to go away. It was about a month and a half.
Well, surely, I mean, from our side as fans, obviously we're looking at it chronologically and we're working at it from week to week. But from a management perspective, they'll have it built up all the way usually to WrestleMania. Surely you were built into the plans to do something as a champion.
Well,
never revisited.
Initially they were planning on, I think, having Taker hold the title like all the way to WrestleMania. I had declared that I was going to cash in my briefcase at WrestleMania.
I remember, yeah.
And it just, it is what it is. It's like wrestling writing, I think, is one of the hardest jobs in the world because it's 52 weeks a year. You've got to deal with injuries, something happens, and you got to pivot all the time. And in this particular instance, this thing happened and they chose to pivot in this way. And then,
yeah. It is. It's like you say, it's always about the pivot. It could be fan reactions. It could be down to injuries. And it's not like writing for a sitcom or a television show. It's not like Ross and Rachel aren't going to get back together because the fans are booing something. It's in the pipeline. It's all done and dusted. However, there was one glimmer of light in that conversation that we've just had. And we're always looking at the positives. And whoever I see him on screen, whether it be his social media, his interactions with the major figure pods, is our very good friend Swoggle. I want to talk a little bit about Dylan and your interaction with him on a ladder at WrestleMania 23. How was that?
Very cool. Well, see, the thing is that Dylan credits me with training him.
Oh, okay.
He was a backyard wrestler. And he started coming to the shows that we would do in the Green Bay area. And So I would just kind of show him a few things. I don't, it wasn't a proper training or anything like that. But, and then I sort of, I remember Tommy Dreamer again calling me and saying, "Hey, do you know any little people wrestlers? We're looking for somebody to go out with Finley." And I said, "Yeah, I do." And I put his name in there. And I remember he had to come in and he went up against like 8 other people and he got the job. So in a sense, I sort of helped him get his job at WWE. So then we're putting the match together before WrestleMania, and they wanted some little interaction with us, and they wanted him to climb and try to go for the briefcase. And they wanted me to power bomb him, and he was the one that came up with it. He's like, "I don't take great power bombs. What do you think about hitting your Finley roll, the Green Bay plunge?" And let's try it. And the nice thing about the the build up to WrestleMania is they have a room with a ring in there, and they've got crash pads and a bunch of ladders, and you can test stuff out. So that's what we did, and you know, just figured out the logistics behind it. And then on the day, I hit him with it. Well, I rolled away from him because usually when you hit somebody with something that's dangerous, you check on them right away. Like, everything okay? You all right? Did that kill you? I wasn't able to do that right away. So he rolled up underneath the turnbuckle. I went away, did some stuff, and then I was finally able to come to him. And I was like, "Hey, man, you okay?" He went, "Yeah, I'm good." It was just like he was playing his Nintendo, like twiddling his thumbs. "Yeah, I'm good, man. You good?" That was fine.
I bet he was elated though, as a fan, as a backyard wrestler, and obviously a big fan of the sport, to get that WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
And it would be so meaningful. It was something that I walked away from that particular WrestleMania 2007. I hold it dearly in my heart because that was just amazing. So kudos
That's
to you
cool.
both for putting on
Thank
the
you.
most spectacular show. Now, as we pivot away from WWE, I just want to ask you just very easily, as you joined TNA, what were the differences did you find between the two promotions? How do you think they will run? Was it night and day? Was it very similar? What are your opinions of the two?
Um, the locker room was much more relaxed.
Okay.
I feel like everybody in WWE at the time was sort of walking on eggshells. You never know. There's always this, like, are they testing? If something happens, it's like, is this a test? Are they messing with me? Um, there was none of that in TNA. So, and then the other thing was in WWE, everything was very scripted for me. And my kids just got here. Sorry. Hey guys.
So we'll wave to them as well. Hi guys.
And everything was very scripted. And when I got to TNA, they were just like, "Hey, we're gonna write stuff for you. You don't. It's just a guideline as to like where we want you to get to. You can say it in your own. You can change it all up, and as long as we get to, you know, this is where we have to go. As long
The
as you get
promised
there,
land. Yeah.
you can get there on your own." That was really sort of freeing. But ultimately, like, I don't know, everybody in wrestling has always been super cool. Like I haven't had a whole lot of negative experiences in locker rooms. So
That's great to hear,
it's
isn't it?
just, it's like
It is. That's great. Yes.
at the end of the day, it's not a bad gig. No matter what complaints we might have, there's a lot worse things that we could do.
Absolutely. And entertainment as a whole, it's all about putting smiles on faces, right? It's making
Yep.
people emote. It's making people feel. It's making people go out of their way to just relate to what you're putting over as an entertainment factor. So, and you smashed it at doing it. If you were given the opportunity, and you've got 3 contracts in front of you in 2025,
Mhm.
we've either got a TNA rejuvenation of Mr. Anderson. We've got an AEW debut, or
Mhm.
we've got a return to WWE, and you're free to sign whichever you want. Which one you putting pen to paper on?
I think WWE.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be it. I would like to see it. I'm sure all of us as fans would like to see it. I'm sure Brian would like to see that as well. Let's make it happen for the 2026 Rumble, right?
Put it in the universe. Yes.
Put that out there. Hey, let's see.
Yes.
Let's see what happens. Um,
Well,
Yeah,
it's not like you've got ring rust considering what you're doing. So I mean, yeah, that could work.
I've been trying to keep in really good shape, and I do get in there, and I don't just tell my students what to do. I actually show them. So
That's a
Yeah.
big difference. That is a big difference, right?
yeah.
And you've got the look, you've got the historical significance, you've got the pedigree, you've got an incredible repertoire. You can speak. You've got a social media presence like no other. Brian's a fan, right?
Well, yeah, as I was doing my research, of course, I have to get on my TikTok page, and then I go over and go to Ken's TikTok page, and some really funny stuff, man. Even dating back a couple of years ago. So, whose idea is it? Yours? Because some of them looks like you're completely caught off guard with the ribs,
Mhm.
right?
Oh yeah, my wife.
You
That's what I
said
was
that
waiting
with
for.
such disdain there, Ken. I was like, oh yeah.
She loves to mess with me. She loves to mess with me for
Well,
sure.
well, they're getting over. I'm going to tell you, I some that I was just busted out laughing. So I think they're really funny. So keep up the good work on the TikTok there. So,
Appreciate that.
or should I
No,
tell
one of
her to
the
keep up the good work?
We love it. You guys both rocking it on the TikTok universe, and we want to find out right now, as we do each and every week here on the Meltdown. We post some wonderful game show-esque questions to our wonderful guests.
Oh
I'm
boy.
going to ask our Mount Rushmore question to Mr. Anderson right now. And
Yep.
being one of the most prolific talkers in the history of professional wrestling, he rocked a mic like no other, so much so it had to drop from the ceiling. I'm going to invite you to give us your top four, whose faces are going to be on the Mount Rushmore of best talkers.
I'd say The Rock,
Good one to start with. Banger.
Ric Flair,
Styling and profiling.
Steve Austin,
Mm.
and I gotta go with like a modern day the CM Punk.
You can't beat him, right? He's the voice of the voiceless. He's got to be on the best talkers.
Yeah.
So we ask it to our
It's
guests.
so hard because there's, it's like the top four. It's so hard in wrestling. People ask me all the time, like, who was your favorite opponent? Like, I can't.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, every one of them. Brian,
Well,
it's up to you now, mate. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Can you
we try
follow
to
suit?
see, well, close. What we do is we try to see how many we match with Ken. So, my four: Steve Austin,
Boom, tick.
The Rock,
Oh, 2 ticks.
CM Punk,
3 ticks. No way. No way.
Piper.
Oh,
Hey,
Yeah, it was so close. There's so many people. Like when you get that fourth spot, you're like, I can think of 10 people that would go here, including yourself, Ken. You would be one of those people. I mean, it's just so close but I had to go old school a little bit, so that's why I put Piper in there. But
Piper is special. Like he really was.
yeah.
No doubt.
I had the pleasure of meeting Roddy when he was touring over here in the UK. And just hit it off. He's just an absolute icon. He is missed, and as we do every week here on the Meltdown, we dedicate one segment to a fallen icon, a fallen brother. Roddy Piper, we look to the stars to you, brother. There we go. One of the absolute best. I love to pet people. It was just a situation where we were just sat on a round table with Roddy, and he just used to like to pet people. It was just his way. Just his way.
He was very touchy feely, like lovey, like he'd hug you, like was
Yeah.
doing like
He wanted to be close. But that was nice. And from people that I've spoken to, was like that was just his way of showing that he was in sort of invested in the conversation, that he was happy, he was at his comfort zone, and he liked the company. So I feel blessed to have been in that circle once. So yes, that's amazing. And what a four. Both of you have put on some heavy hitters, no doubt. Well, as we're going down the game show route, we're going to carry on. We're going to hit from one to the other straight away. Boom, boom. If the left doesn't get you, then the right one will. We're now going to play a game. Winner stays on. So I'm going to pose 2 names to Mr. Anderson. One stays on and one takes the L.
Okay.
and let's see how well we get towards the end. And the
Okay.
topic that we're going to discuss on this one, as all our different guests do, we did it with Alex Wright, where we talked about European wrestlers. We talked to Mark Marrow about dual sports athletes. We've been all down the line, and we've hit it up. Winner stays on. Snitsky was a good one with Best Big Man. Mr. Anderson, winner stays on. Money in the Bank winners. I'm going to pose them to you. You just got to get rid of one and it goes to the next. Are you ready? Flex it out, brother.
Yeah.
He's ready.
Okay. Edge or CM Punk?
CM Punk.
Edge took a spear. The Rated R superstar, boom, has been slammed. CM Punk or Daniel Bryan?
Daniel Bryan.
Oh, Punk goes. The voice of the voiceless has been silenced. Daniel Bryan or Alexa Bliss?
Daniel Bryan.
Keep going. Daniel Bryan or Rob Van Dam?
Daniel Bryan.
Oh, nice. Okay. This could be it now. We've got a full swoop. I've got more to come, but could Daniel Bryan go all the way to the end? Daniel Bryan or Liv Morgan?
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan or Seth Rollins?
Oh, Seth Rollins.
Bryan takes the L. I'm so sorry, Mr. Danielson. So we've got Seth Rollins or Brock Lesnar.
Oh,
We've
Brock
got him
Lesnar.
stumped.
Brock Lesnar.
Brock's in. F5 to Seth Rollins. The architect has gone down. Brock Lesnar or The Miz?
Brock Lesnar.
Brock or Kane?
Brock.
Brock or Randy Orton?
Randy Orton.
Brock has gone down, is F5'd himself up to the skies, and the RKO No War has taken it. We've got a few more. Randy Orton or Bailey?
Randy.
Randy or John Cena?
Randy.
That was quite quick as well. I like that. That was definitive.
That was quick.
Definitive, yeah. Ken. Right. I'll catch my breath as well. Randy Orton or Tiffany Stratton?
Tiffany Stratton.
Oh, it's down to the last
That's
one.
my girl. You know, I had a hand in training her.
Yeah,
we know.
You. Tiffany Stratton, the last
Nepotism.
one. Tiffany Stratton or Mr. Kennedy?
Tiffany Stratton.
Oh, he's put her over. Big style. She's grabbed that briefcase.
My wife said, Mr. Kennedy. She
Yes.
Well done. Well done. You picked it well. And you know what? We're into a trend now. We've got half and half, Brian. Half have put themselves over.
Yep.
Very well. And half have put somebody else over. So yes, excellent job there, Ken. We like it.
My job at this point in my career is to put the younger talent over.
Well, you've just
that's that's a great segue to end that segment and going into this last to the finish, if we will, here, getting close. Ken, a lot of people do know that, as you just mentioned, that a former student of the academy is WWE superstar Tiffany Stratton. What can you tell us a little bit about her? I know that you said that when she first got in, she had trouble as far as learning to run the ropes, and like most people do. Did she catch on pretty quick? And what can you tell us about it?
No, she surprisingly, she caught on surprisingly quick.
Okay, good.
In every aspect. I think the one area that she struggled in was cutting a promo. I have her first promo, and she stumbled a little bit. She didn't have the character that she has now, which is amazing. If you saw her first promo and put what she's doing now, it's night and day difference. But she was a joy to train. Just came, did the work. It was Greg Gagne that reached out and said, "Hey, I've got a family friend. She's a power lifter and she's done some gymnastics and stuff like that. She'd like to train. She's got a great look." So they came in, and Greg would come and do the training with me, which was nice to have a guy like that around to help train the other students as well. But yeah, she crushed it.
So really the athletic part of it was really there. It was just a matter of getting the reps and getting in front of the microphone and getting comfortable with being performing for a crowd and in front of people, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
You said it. You hit the nail on the head. The reps. That's a lot. That's a big part of what we do. You just have to keep doing it until you can do it without thinking about it.
Yes.
And it's all about the positive endorsement as well from trainers. So as you just laid out there, from a first promo perspective, never go into something and think you're going to be the best the first time that you do it. It's all about the continuity. It's all about the building. And as we promote here on the Meltdown, the positive outcomes. Look at Tiffy right now. We are all living on Tiffy time, and she is doing incredible. And thank you for all that you did to train her, to put everything, all those jigsaw pieces together to make.
Well, thank you for saying that. But at the same time, I told somebody this the other day. If I was just lucky, right place, right time to train her, um, I do think that I helped her as much as I could. But I feel like if Tiffy had gone to another wrestling school, we'd still see her on TV. She's just, she's the one that does the work at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, as we're going home here, I just want to ask you this also. Is there anything that we can, that you would like to talk about as far as the academy training school? And how would people get in touch with you if they had that lifetime career ambition to get into the business? How can they reach out to you?
They can text me directly. I've given my number out before. I was on Chris Van Vliet's podcast
okay.
a few weeks ago, and
okay.
He said, I was giving my number out, and he said, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I've always given it away to to the academy line for people that want to contact." And I ended up getting about 500 text messages over the course of last week. But yeah, text me directly. It's all over my social media. I can say it here. It's 507-722-2776. Text me. If you're interested, if you live in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area or you're willing to relocate, give me a buzz and let's talk. Our training program is pretty lengthy. It's a 1-year commitment from the students. I personally feel that you can't learn, you can't really learn the business in a few weeks or a few months.
No.
We are though offering for the summer just a crash course, 8-week course for those that want to just dip their foot in the water and see if it's something that they want to do. So we're doing it's $1,000 for 8 weeks, and it's just kind of going over the basics of pro wrestling.
We will make all the details.
We will make sure. Yes, exactly. We will blast your number on here so that everybody can call you in the middle of the night, early in the morning. It doesn't matter. Somebody will answer, or you can leave a message and talk to the man himself. So there you go. That's great. We will definitely put that out into the universe.
Appreciate that.
Always do. Sure, man. Absolutely. Tomcat, any parting words for the man himself?
Well, we're all about, as we keep saying, we're all about positivity. We're all about mental health, positive mental health and well-being here on the Meltdown. And I just wanted to know from our wonderful guest, and thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Ken Anderson, what is the most positive thing that you have got from professional wrestling?
I've met my wife through professional wrestling. I traveled to Australia and called all the women in the audience ugly. And she laughed because she knew what I was doing. And it was love at first sight. And then here we are, been married for 7 years. So yeah, just, I have traveled the world and done some of the coolest things, met the coolest people. Like, this is not, I said it earlier, this is not a bad gig.
What a story.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, right, Brian?
Yes, Ken. Hey, man, as advertised, man, really glad we got to meet you, and thank you so much for being on the Meltdown today. We really appreciate you taking the time because we know how busy you are with your training center and all the things you have to do, including taking care of the family. We get that.
Mm,
So again, we just want to thank you. And from all of us here at the Meltdown, we wish you nothing but more continued success. And you're crushing it, my man. And again, we will talk to you soon. And you're always welcome back here anytime.
Thank you so much. And I'm such a huge fan of you too, Bryan. So I really, really appreciate having me on the show and giving me a platform.
Anytime. Yes.
Always welcome back, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Anderson. Thank you so much for being with us, brother. Absolute
Thank you.
Superstar. These legends are lining up and knocking it out of the park. Oh, we are sending homers all the way around the world as tonight we linked up direct into Minneapolis with a Green Bay hero. Whether he be Kennedy or Anderson, he will always be in our hearts as Mr. And you fill in the blank directly after that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we thank Mr. Ken Anderson for an incredible appearance here on The Meltdown. Such a pleasure. And we gave him a real positive spin, Bryan. We loved it. I loved hearing all the stories, whether it was WWE, where he would sign if he had the opportunity to give it the 3, and check out that Mount Rushmore of talkers. You guys were well in sync. You were nearly there.
It was so close. And you started the show off magnificently as the microphone rolls through the clouds and into your hand, just like Ken does it. Yeah, it was great. You did you perfect lead in to kick off the show in a great mood. Again, we're all about the positive vibes, the great things we have going on here. And again, the superstars keep knocking on the door, and we are happy to open it.
We have got, as we say each and every week, I love it. It's my word. I'm going to have it on a t-shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees, a smorgasbord of talent lined up for our Meltdown viewers. Well, we're going to open up the Meltdown mailbag for you guys right now. I'm going to untie that string. I'm going to put my hand in and draw out something. If you remember old 80s and 90s kids TV shows, that's exactly what the presenters did. So as I rummage around in there, I've already picked out 2. I'm only kidding. And these
what we got. What do we have this week? Something hit me with something fresh.
Something really current is one of the first ones that I've got for you, Bryan. And it comes from David Lucas in Sutton Coldfield, right over here in good old England. Yes, we're going to the beautiful West Midlands. And the question is very current. What is your opinion of John Cena's farewell tour and where it will lead?
Well, first, let me say, I love the fact that UK is so strong on this channel. I mean, they're always so interactive with us, and I love it. And I love answering this question. I think that they are doing the Cena farewell tour. I think it's just on pace. And I like the fact that it's getting each week passes, and it's like the last chance to see him. Now, where it's going to end, I have an idea. I could be just a gut tells me that he was such a strong face throughout his entire career that I think there's got to be some type of big turn at the end. And as he really just sort of walks out the door, but he leaves it open just a crack to be Mr. Good Guy again. That's just a gut feeling, but we'll see how it plays out.
As he rides off into the sunset, maybe he'll be riding off on horseback next to our very own creation of Devastation in good old Tucson. You never know. The invitation's always open for him.
Yes, it is open.
Yeah. Love it. What a good answer. And I feel exactly the same. I think it is pacing very nicely right now. I like the way that John is counting down the days that he has left. But I feel that there will be a certain day that he realizes in his heart that the path that he is taking as a little bit of a rule breaker needs to about turn, because he's only got a few little seconds left on.
That's right.
Good one. All right. We're going to go into our second question. This one, we do love our interaction from the UK, but we absolutely adore our interaction from each and every one of you repping it over in the US of A. And this one comes from Hector Gonzalez in San Diego, California. That's going deep with you, Bryan, on this one. He's asking, in 1995, when you left the WWF, before you joined WCW, was there any interest in joining the Tribe of Extreme in ECW?
Wow, great question. I love the West Coast out here, Arizona, California. Hey, good stuff, man. Thank you, Hector. We appreciate that. I would honestly have to say no, just because of the fact that I was doing some tours over in the UK for Hammerlock Wrestling. And I also did some work in down the Caribbean, also did some independents throughout the States. And I had my sights set on and a very good opportunity to work with Eric Bischoff at WCW. So that's where I was really focused. So that opportunity for an ECW, although it probably would have been really fun, but it just didn't align for me.
It seems like such a fun, yet quite frankly, dangerous working environment when you go to work for the mad scientist of the extreme. There's always some incredible gimmick going on, but they seem like such a sensational family. Everything seemed to tie in. And from our creation of Devastation, everything worked out as you took a trip to Atlanta in the end. What a beautiful trip that was for you. And speaking of trips, we're going to take you guys on a very extreme trip next week as we are going to drop the green from the Green Bay and replace it with the blue. Are you guys ready to get dancing with us? Because we're going to be invaded. I hear they're taking over. The BWO's very own Blue Meanie is going to be with us for episode number 11. So go out of your way to check us out with barbed wire in hand, baseball bat in the other, ready to get extreme here on the Meltdown. We hope you guys have enjoyed episode number 10. It's a momentous episode. And from what I hear, 20 is the big number. Only 1% of podcasters get to 20 episodes. We're halfway there and we're living on a prayer. From me, the Tomcat, boom, here in Manchester, England. I'm going to lay it up for our big brother across the pond to take us home. Tick, 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 boom.
Thank you, Tomcat. What a great show today, man. I really had a good time. I have a good time each and every week. But today, like you said, maybe it was the number 10. Maybe it was just the fact that it was a 10. But Mr. Anderson delivered as I knew he would, no doubt about it. And of course, next week, episode 11 with the Blue Meanie, there are going to be a ton of stories. So do not miss it. Make sure you check out the Tomcat and the Creation of Devastation. Each and every Monday, we will be ready because we do what we do best. Breaking necks and cashing checks. We will see you next Monday. Boom.